I know I said I wasn't going to make any more political videos, but I can't help it on this one. The Disney classic Snow White. It's not out yet, but everyone keeps on talking about it like it's something to be amazed. But from what I've seen, the plots, the story, the cast and crew members, what they've said, what they're gonna do, it's gonna suck. And what's so upsetting about it, from what I've seen and heard myself, is that they're making it all about strong women. You know, and I've seen a lot of Snow White movies, and I gotta say, this one fails big time. Because I recall seeing the movie called Snow White and the Huntsman. It's where basically Snow White is born with skin white as snow, hair black as a raven, lips red as blood. It was basically her mother making this wish after she had pricked her finger on a rose. And her mother dies years later after she's born of illness. It's just now the king and her daughter, and his daughter, and basically the king goes to war with these glass soldiers or something like that. I can't recall. And that's when they find the evil queen, disguised as a mere peasant, who had and he was smitten by her beauty, despite all the warnings of that gut feeling you would normally get about a person. It just vanished, and he immediately married this woman, which is a smack upside the head as to why would he marry some random woman. And she basically kills the dude by poisoning him, as while she talks about a previous king that used and abused her. And then this evil queen has a brother, apparently, and this new Snow White, and they immediately take over the kingdom. They won. Snow White is in prison. And she's been in prison for quite some time. She gets out. She trains. She becomes strong. She learns how to defend herself. There is no prince rescuing Snow White in that movie, which was once again called Snow White and the Huntsman. It's basically Snow White. It's basically Snow White becoming strong and a capable, independent woman. That's how you actually do it. You see her grow as a person. You see her find true love, and she is basically tricked in the movie to eat a red apple, which was a poisonous apple, by the evil queen who was disguised as her lover. And I think it was after she had killed her brother. She had poisoned. I think it was after Snow White had killed the evil queen's brother, and then she disguises as her lover, poisons her with a poison apple. She retreats back to the castle. The poison wears off with true love's kiss, and it's Snow White that avenges her father and restores the kingdom and kills the evil queen. There is no prince coming to the rescue in this movie, and yet this movie does so well. Yet what they're saying is there's no prince in this movie. There is no Snow White being rescued by some stalker. I mean, there is no stalker. There was never a stalker in the Snow White franchise from Disney or to other movies that have made adaptations to it after the Snow White Disney movie. What the original Disney movie was, the prince sees a beautiful woman dressed in rags, and yet she's so ashamed of herself that she's dressed in rags. And did I just whistle while talking? Oh God. Sorry, lost topic. But she's ashamed of herself that she's dressed in rags, because when during the movies of Snow White during that time, from what I've been told and have learned, women really do care about their appearance. So when the prince sees her and she's dressed in rags, she flees out of embarrassment. She doesn't flee from a stalker, no. She wishes, and she even says she wishes to be dressed in nice clothing and look presentable for the prince. She even sings a song to the dwarves about how she have fallen in love with the prince and wants to be with him. So I just don't understand how they could not do their research on this, or even go on to base the Snow White and Seven Dwarfs movie, and the Huntsman movie, where she falls in love with the huntsman's son, or I can't recall who the kid was related to. It was a while, but even I remember enough to know that Snow White was this indeed strong woman, who, yes, she was indeed saved by true love's kiss, but I saw that as a means of her being cured of poison, not her being rescued by the prince. Because like I said before, at the middle and end of the movie, it's Snow White who slays the evil queen. It's Snow White that shatters the mirror. It's Snow White that becomes queen and gets her happily ever after rescuing her kingdom from the clutches of the evil queen. And they are deciding to just ignore this type of movie and so many other movies where Snow White was a strong woman or a capable warrior for the sake of wokeism. Political correctness has become racist, sexist, and offensive. It brings no art. There's no finesse to it. There's no beauty to it. It needs to stop. And I guess the only way these people will ever learn is we got to hit them where it hurts the most, and that's their wallets. So I don't recommend seeing this movie that's about to come out, because if you're going to have the most popular and talented movie star who could play a dwarf, who's actually played the dwarf in Game of Thrones, say that this is offensive, and every other person who's a dwarf, who's got dwarfism, is saying this guy is out of his mind and is a complete hypocrite, then yeah, this movie does not seem entertaining. There is no art to it. There's no love to it. It's just a politically correct movie, and we all know politically correct movies suck just as much as politically correct video games suck. And that's all I've got to say about it. Thank you and good night. And P.S. We really gotta start hitting them in the money bank. Keep up the good work with Bud Light. Let's try a little bit harder though. And let's raise some hell.